Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Communications from Home, my weekly evening live stream here at the Star Nation's main fan page. And tonight is Tuesday, June 11th, and I'm broadcasting from Star Nation's Academy here in Toma, Wisconsin. And it is a cold, cool, rainy evening. Got my jacket on. I've got a long sleeve shirt on. It's like 66 degrees here. Yeah, it's a little cool. But at any rate, we're going to have a good show tonight because it's all about one of my favorite things, and that is Star Nation's magazine. Yeah, I love, love, love our magazine, and I know I'm partial. I do. I know I'm partial, but there's so many aspects of it that just really feeds my soul, and when we get to share that with you all. So before we get started, I am going to share our live stream. I'm going to get my phone and I am going to share, like and share. And I say this during almost every one of my live streams is that we know that Facebook likes sharing and likes comments. That's been one of the very consistent things in the very inconsistent world of Facebook. Every time they do one of their changes, their updates, it kind of throws everybody for a little bit of a loop because we're so used to it being done a certain way, right? Yeah. But this is one part that doesn't seem to change, and that is how much a post is in the news feed based on how many times people have shared it or liked it. And so, there's so much information that comes into Facebook. It's so easy for a piece of information to be lost in all of that information. So I would appreciate it if you would share and like the live stream tonight. That would really be helpful. It'll help us to get into the news feed a little bit more often, and so that those souls who are looking for a show like this or a spiritual community like ours, they'll be able to find us a little bit easier. So I'm going to share over to my news feed, and just to remind my friends that I am live streaming, and asking them to please join us. And there we go. I'll get that posted. Now, I don't think Stephanie is going to be in the house tonight. She is recovering from a medical procedure. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this over to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group, and just letting the peeps know, that's what I call them because they're my peeps, that I'm live streaming. And they can to please join us. In the live chat. There we go. There. It's for me. It goes really quick because I have all these quick keys. I do it so often, the words just come up and I just tap on them, and we're good to go. And we're good to go. So, the Star Nations magazine. This past this past October, 2018, we celebrated our fifth year, and we just published the number 73 issue. So we've been at this for a little while, and it has been a really fun trip with the magazine. It's an adventure. It's about co-creation, and it's also about sharing our gifts and spiritual information, right? And we've had it said that some people who purchase the print copy and also the digital, that they actually save the copies, especially the print copies, because they see it as a reference. Right, something that they can use to help their own writings or their own classes and that sort of thing. And so, so that tells you something a little bit about the magazine, right? It's meant for some entertainment, yes, but it really is much more about assisting our readers in their soul growth. And so the topics that are chosen every month, let's see, I do those usually in the early fall, and I get them out to the contributing writers, the whole list for the entire next year. I usually get them that list, no later than the end of December. So those who like to work ahead, they can work ahead as much as they want. And for those who need to keep the list out there in front of them so that they can keep track of where they're at with things, that's always very helpful too. But it's the beginning process of creating a magazine, is the topics rounded up for the year and how the contributing writers take a look at the list of the topics for any given month. And many of our contributing writers, then what they do is they take that list and then they sit down in some meditation, and they're asking their spiritual team about which topic to write on. What message can we deliver through one of these topics, right? And so sometimes there's some topics that aren't chosen, and so I delete those out. But other times we get a very small topic field, but very wide experience, because everybody will experience that particular topic slightly different. And so they're writing from just a slightly different perspective, right? Yeah. And so the topics themselves are what jumpstarts the creative process. Yeah. And so the writers have about 3 weeks, depending on the length of the month, sometimes 4, to prepare, write, have their article edited, and then submit the final edited article to me on the 24th of each month, right? Along with the title. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. They submit their article to their first personal editor by the 24th and email me the article topic or title. It's on the 28th of every month that they send me their completed article, completely edited, and on the 28th, so that I can select which titles are going to go onto the cover. And then we send it off to publishing on the 10th. And so, that's kind of how the process runs. And it doesn't, when I explain it, when I share it that way, it doesn't sound fun, but it is. It is a joyful, fun time, because I do also write, and I contribute the editorial, and occasionally will put together one of the articles, because maybe a contributing writer isn't feeling well, or they've got so much going on in their life that they can't take the time to focus to write an article for a given month. And so I write something on their behalf so that their energy is still in the magazine. And especially if they're a show host, we'll share one of their recorded live stream shows. So so to me, it's fun. It's fun, and sometimes it's like this month. Sometimes it feels that the pressure is building, and I only have so much time in the day to get everything done. And for about 2 weeks, my complete focus is the magazine until we actually publish. So that is kind of a recap of the creative process. I get the articles in. We take a look at them. They've already been edited, but I send them through one more time through Grammarly, and then if we need to find a picture to go with it, I'll do that. And then we head to the layout portion of it. So I gather all of the articles, all of the pictures, and we share them over to our partners at Elf Elm, who then do the layout. They do their elf magic and create something very beautiful out of the articles and the pictures and all of that. Yeah. So Carol is here with me. Hello, Carol. Good to have you here. Yeah, it's we're talking about the magazine tonight, the June issue. We're halfway through the year, and this particular issue was it was all about. Let me get the topics up here. Here we go. I think this is the one with the topics. No, it's not. I know I have it here, or did I close it? I might have closed it. I had so many files open earlier. Here we go. We're going to open it up. Another one. Another file. It's just going to take me a second. Okay, so the topics in this particular magazine is Father's Day, of course, because this is the Father's Day month, right, is in June, and also the solstice. How can you have a magazine about spirituality without writing about the solstice in June, right? And then there's forgiveness. I think you're going to see several articles in this issue about forgiveness. Vision and nature and photography. So, as you can tell, the topics are kind of wide. We don't really have one specific theme for a single issue, because I think that kind of hems in the contributing writer. And so if I can offer them, somewhere between 5 to 6 possible topics, that they and their spiritual team can settle on one of those 5 or 6 topics, and then take off with the writing, right? Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of some of these windows. Got to take a drink of water. So I'm going to show you the cover. And I have to say that this particular cover is, I know I'm partial, but I love it. I love the color. This is our nod to nature. One of the topic words, and our nod to nature. And so, we have the purple flowers in the foreground, and we have, you can call it a setting sun or a rising sun with those purple hues, right? In the sky. I got to take off my jacket. Now I'm warm. So in this particular cover, one of the other reasons why I like it is because it also reminds me of Grandmother Earth and Grandfather Sky, and how at those 2 times of day, the sunrise or the sunset, how we can actually physically see the love that they have for each other, right? And when the sun either dips below the horizon or pops up over the horizon for the sunrise, is in that moment how we can sense the feeling of how much they love each other. And they show it to us through that beauty, right? And so that's one of the other reasons I really like this image for the cover. Yeah. Yeah, Carol is saying she saw Polly Joe's article on the cover. Yes, we're going to highlight her article tonight as well. So the cover, right? And Elf Elm, who does our layout for us, they're a layout specialist. They take the image that I find for the cover, and they work their magic with it. And then they start inserting the article titles that I send to them, and arrange them and rearrange them. And then they end up sending me usually at least 2 or 3 versions of the cover, so that we can select which one we like the best, right? And sometimes it's really hard because they're kind of close. When I have more than one image for the cover, what I've started this year is sending it out to our Star Nations community to help me select the cover, which one that they like the best. And we've done that, I think, 2 or 3 times this year in 2019. And don't be surprised if we end up doing it a few more times before the end of the year, because I love having your input. And then we take the cover that has the most votes, then becomes the cover for that month. But this June issue is, I love this color, the cover, because of the color. And it's also about the photography, right? Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a little snippets of my picture of the articles titles that appeared on the cover. Yeah. Carol's saying that she read the page 1 of the article. Yeah. And the reason why I share that first page is so that you can get a sense of what what that article feels like, right? And so then you can make a choice for yourself on whether or not you're going to purchase the magazine itself. I just want to take care of my phone here. I couldn't remember if I turned the sound down on my phone, just in case it rings. Okay, so this first article, Angel Therapy, is the name of the column, and the contributing writer is Maureen Mann. And Maureen also is one of our show hosts, our live stream show hosts here at Star Nations. And and so this month, what she wrote about is the title of her article is Understanding and Healing Trauma. Okay. And the reason why she chose this one has a lot to do with her daughter. And it's a very personal story. Her daughter, who goes to college at the University of North Carolina, right? Many of you may have remembered not too long ago that there was a gunman on campus, and her daughter actually contacted her. Maureen's daughter contacted her and said, while it was happening. So can you imagine being a mom and getting that telephone call from your child that there is a person with a gun on campus and they're locking down campus, and what should I do? What should I do, right? And so Maureen was able to coach her daughter through that moment to get to safety, right? But after they hung up, and that was probably the hardest thing to do, is to hang up on that call, right? But that was when Maureen got into prayer mode and calling on the angels, because she has this connection to the angels and the archangels, and calling on them to go to that campus, right? And so as I was reading her article to get a feeling for it, and also the picture that she found to go with her article, and this is about candlelight, and it's about prayers, and it's about how we connect with the divine, right? Especially when we're going through a crisis, right? That's what we should be doing. Now, where this kind of falls is one of the ways that we best heal trauma is through forgiveness. And even though that this experience that her daughter had and the feelings that Maureen had around this experience, she was able to help us as a social worker, because that is her 9-to-5 job, that she helps us to understand the importance of forgiveness, because it helps us along with our healing work. All right, to heal and to heal that trauma and to let it go and to release it. And so how she describes her article is, Maureen opens her heart as she shares her experience with trauma, how to heal trauma, and also how to learn from the experience of the trauma. In this very personal sharing, know that your heart and mind will be touched. And I tell you what, I get the Kleenex out, because I had to grab a tissue. To finish reading it and find out how the angel can not only protect us, but assist us in our healing of the trauma that we've experienced. And so Maureen really does share her heart. She shares her feelings as a mom and also as a light worker. And so if you know of anybody in your personal life who has experienced this kind of trauma or any kind of trauma, really, this article could be very helpful to them. Could be very, very helpful to them. Yeah. And Carol is saying, forgiveness is so very powerful. It really is. It really is. It's not that your forgiveness doesn't hide or gloss over the behavior or the action. But what it does is that it frees you from being trapped within it, right? Reliving it over and over and over again. And so to be able even to pray for the aggressor, because, here's what I usually think of in these moments, right? Especially when there's a gunman and they've hurt other people, is that, and chances are many times what happens to the gunman is that they end up being killed, right? And so I say, what about his mother or her mother, right? That his family just lost him too, whether he was shot to end the shooting or if he goes to prison, right? Either way, they've lost him in a way. And so it's sad all the way around, but with the healing work and the forgiveness, we can come back into a healthy balance. Yeah. And Carol's saying, how can I subscribe for a hard copy of Star Nations magazine? Where do I send a check? All right. So for the print on demand, is through our partners at Magcast. And let me see if I can get you that link to go all the way down to the bottom of my document here. And at MagCloud, I'm sorry, not Magcast, but MagCloud is our partners. And what they do is they help us do the print on demand. And you can also get a web viewer version and a PDF version, which means that either one of those versions of the digital, you can use any device that you want to, your laptop, your computer, your tablet, or your phone. Doesn't matter. With print on demand, it does take a little bit once you order it. It takes about 7 to 10 days because, it's print on demand. It's not printed in large quantities. And you have to actually use a credit card to purchase it. And here I'm going to put in the comments for print on demand. It's our partners at MagCloud. Here we go. And so you can just click on that link and it'll take you directly to MagCloud and to our page at MagCloud. And you'll see all the other issues there, back issues as well, that if you wanted to purchase that. Now, we try very, very hard. We're very diligent, very much aware, conscious of the cost of printing, right? And so we really try to keep our magazines at or under 60 pages for that reason. Because it's going to, the cost of shipping and all of that. With a print, we want to make sure that we keep it at or under $20. And so, yeah. So we try really, really hard to do that. You're welcome, Carol. You're very welcome. All right. So the next article, I'm going to get this up, is under the column called The Witch's Cauldron. And The Witch's Cauldron is written by Adrienne Campbell. And Adrienne is a solitary witch. She's Wiccan. She doesn't belong to a coven. She's a solitary witch. And her love, her specialty is healing herbs. And so you might even call her an herbologist. She knows a heck of a lot about herbs and how to use them and what they're for. And also the history of the herbs as well. And in her article this month, it's entitled The Whimsical Summer Solstice. And she shares with us about the energy of the summer solstice specifically. Now, in the southern hemisphere, it's winter, right? But in the northern hemisphere, it's the summer solstice. She also imparts that we humans are nature, that we're not separate from it, and that we are nature. And so when we when we include ourselves in nature, it changes our perspective. It changes how we see our world, rather than holding the natural world separately from us, right? And so she says that she also includes a recipe for an herbal mix to add to your solstice ceremony, and that will bring you unique magic to your celebration. And that if you're looking for a new way of celebrating or adding something to your celebrations for the summer solstice, then you might want to read this article, because for her, the summer solstice is it's about a lightness, because it's the light that is here the longest, right, of the year. And so we get to find joy in that, And she lists the herbs that you can use for this ceremony. And this isn't the first time she's done this. She's done also a list like this for the equinox and for full moons and that sort of thing. So if you're interested in herbs, and if you're interested in pagan or Wicca, this would be a really good article for you to read, because she also does a little myth busting too along the way. Yeah. Yeah, Carol's saying, I'll look and see if buying the online version would be better for me. Sure, that's one of the reasons why we offer the magazine in a few different versions, because we have some people who all of their reading material is either on their tablet or on their phone, right? They don't have any print books or magazines or anything like that. And then we have those people who like to have the digital version, but they don't even want to have the hard copy on their or the copy of it on their computer in the hard drive. And so they really like the web viewer version of it, because they can be on any one of their devices and go into the cloud and pull it in and bring it into their device. Doesn't matter which one it is. And the PDF is kind of the same way, but the PDF you can actually print out. And so you could print it out and read the single pages. You don't have to print out the whole thing, because that's like 60 pages, right? But you could print out the recipes. You could print out the list of herbs. So you could do that. Yeah. So the PDF version is helpful that way. And also the PDF version, you can still click the links that will take you to the different videos and that sort of thing. Whereas the print on demand, you can't click the links because it's print, right? Although we do have what they're called QR codes, so that if you have the app on your phone or on your tablet, that you can put your phone over the QR code, it will pick up the link from the QR code, and it will take you directly to the video. Okay, so if you like it doing it that way too. Some people really like to hold it in their hands, which is okay. It's fine. And so if you like it that way, then the print on demand is for you, right? All right. So Adrian chose her own photo as well, and showing a night sky, and it's actually more like twilight, and so it's a really pretty photo that goes along with her article. Yeah, Adrian. She came to us. She doesn't have her own show. I don't believe she's even on Facebook, but she does have her own website. And let's see if I can find her website for you. It's Moon something. Moon. It's a second. Gotta scroll. Might be too long. Yeah, I can't. I know it's here. I just can't find it. Usually I can go right to them, but this one, it's not letting me. Okay, so she does have a website, and so if you ever wanted to contact her directly, you can go directly to her website. Oh, here it is. It is Moonstone Alchemy is the name of her website. I'll put that into the comments. And if you wanted to contact her about the herbs that she shares with us and have questions about it, I'm sure she would be happy to answer you. And so Adrienne Campbell, contributing writer. There we go. Because some people are really interested in that, right? Carol says, I didn't realize there are all the options. I know, right? And really, it's because each one of us has a favorite way of reading our material, right? See, I really do like the digital. I do, because I can be standing in a line at Kmart. Anybody have any Kmarts anymore? Unfortunately, Walmart or even the medicine shop or something like that. I can be waiting in line, and as I wait, I can actually read an article. Yeah, because our articles, and a lot of people don't know this either. Our articles, the word count on a standard issue like Adrian's is 900 to 1,200 words. Yeah. And our writers are getting really, really good. I mean, many of them have been at this for like 4 years, 5 years. And so they're getting very, very good at bringing their story to you in a very concise way, right? And so that you have the opportunity to be able to start and finish an article in a very short period of time and still get the full essence of their experience. Yeah. The featured articles are 1,200 to 1,500 words. And so that one might take you a little bit longer to read, but they're featured articles. So they got more information in it, right? Yeah. All right. Next. Oh, one of my favorites. I'm going to give that one a solo. This is Nature Adventures, and the name of the column written by one of my favorite people in the world, and that one of my sisters, and that's Minnie Kansman. Minnie, she was just so excited for this issue. She had a hard time deciding which topic to write about. Why? Is because the two of the topics are near and dear to her heart. And the two of the topics that are near and dear to her heart is nature and photography. And so she couldn't decide. And so she decided to do it together. So the title of her article is Nature Photography. Now you have to know that Minnie was always taking pictures anyway. But when she started writing for us back in 2013, she was still taking pictures with her phone, right? And they were okay. They were good. The quality wasn't all that great though. And so she and I talked, and I said, if you'd like us to use your photos, I'd be happy to do so, but they have to be at least 300 DPI because of the tablets, because they show such detail, and we want the pictures to be outstanding in the magazine. And so it took her a little bit, but she was researching an affordable camera, and she found one. And so she's using that to take her pictures when she travels, so that she can use the pictures in whatever article or articles that might come out of that particular experience, right? And so this one is no different. And she's actually explaining a lot more about what's in the photograph, and also sharing with us that it really, taking these kinds of photos actually it slows you down and brings you to the moment that you're in. that your mental mind isn't traveling faster and going out to the next thing that you're supposed to be doing rather than um, attending to what you're currently doing, right? And she says that nature photography can help you to do that, to slow you down and really consider to and how much you appreciate and what you appreciate in nature. So she says that in this June article, Minnie shares about her two loves, her love of nature and her love of photography. One of her favorite activities is taking photographs of the natural world around us. Um, and she says that because you are literally focusing in on an aspect of a landscape, is that you actually bring in more information about that place than if you would be sitting down and just gazing at it. Why? Is because you're being interactive with it. Yeah. So she enjoys taking, and I would say about 98 of the photos found in any of her articles comes from Minnie. There's a few that come from like Wikipedia or something like that, or maybe could be from one of the pictures that I've purchased for the magazine. And so, if you like photography and if you love nature, this article will help you, especially if you're just starting out, right? Can help you really bring those two elements, those two variables together, right? It's kind of like creating alchemy in a way. It's kind of funny for those that are in the live chat. How many of you take a lot of pictures using your camera, whether it's on your phone or if you have a digital camera that you use? A 35. We used to call them 35 millimeter. You're not using film anymore, so I'm not sure what to call them. But taking photos, especially in nature. Um, it's a way to be able to interact with nature. I was just looking to see who's in the chat, and I see one of my sisters is in the house, Teresa, and I know that Teresa does take photos as well of nature, and but she also does video. Every once in a while, you'll catch a video of hers on Facebook or on Instagram, and so it really is another way to interact and to appreciate nature. Nature Adventures with Minnie Kansman. I'm going to be with her in September on one of her trips. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh, let's see. Carol's asking, does Minnie tell what kind of camera she uses? She did in a very early article in 2013, or maybe it was 2014. I bet you anything was 2014. But what we can do, Carol, is I can make a comment here and I can tag her, Minnie. Got to be able to spell. Kansman. What type of camera do you use to photograph nature? And she'll see her name being mentioned, and maybe what she'll do, Carol, is come in and give us the type of camera that she's using. Okay. Carol's saying, I take a lot with my phone now. I used to use my Canon SureShot. Yeah, I've got one of those too, Canon SureShot. I liked it because it was small enough to fit into a backpack or into my pocket even. And yeah, when I was doing a lot of traveling. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I just lost the feed, and I don't know what happened. I'm not going to try to figure it out either because that'll be even harder. I'm back though. I'm back. Yeah. Oh, I misspelled Minnie's name. Sorry about that, Minnie. All right. All right. And Teresa is saying, just like back in the day when you started with a Nikon or a Pentax. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that kind. I'm learning how to take digital photos now and set the ISO and speed. If you use this kind of camera and want to use for print, check the settings to make sure that it takes photos in RAW versus JPEG. Oh, that is a good tip. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, I've seen the RAW, but I never knew what that was. All right, let's see. Now, this next article is by our good friend and animal communicator, Leslie Serenesi. Wait, I got to make sure I pronounce her name correctly. Serenisi, that's it. That'd be Leslie Serenisi. And her article this month is called The Nature of Things. And she's actually talking about, this was a very interesting article. It made me stop and kind of sit back and consider what she was talking about. Okay, so she is an animal communicator, right? But because you can communicate with animals, you can communicate telepathically with any living, being, whether it's in the past, present, or future. All right. So her article is all about a conversation she had with another person, another two-legged, about being a vegetarian and being vegan and why. Okay. So this gentleman that she had the conversation with explained to her about his reasoning about being a vegan, and that was because how he feels about animals and that sort of thing. But what was interesting about it is that he was asking her about plants. If you can communicate to animals, can you communicate with plants too? And of course she can. And so he wanted to know, are we hurting the plants when we're harvesting them and to eat them? Just like we would be doing with animals, is that to be very conscious and consciously aware of that. So that was a conversation she had with this young man that she shares with us. And the picture is her picture. I love that picture of her. She's hugging either a redwood or a sequoia tree. And the very last line in her article is about, is maybe not becoming a fruitarian or a breatharian and just breathing air to sustain yourself. But maybe if we just go out and hug a tree, right? But it really gave me a pause to think about how we interact with our food and how we give thanks, being grateful for their life force to keep us alive and in balance, right? Healthy, that sort of thing. So it was thought provoking for me. So if you enjoy that kind of article and reading about questions coming from a vegan to an animal communicator, I know it kind of sounds way out there, but it's not, because Leslie is a communicator. She's an interspecies communicator, and that makes a big difference. Interspecies. She laughingly told me one time that uh, some people find it hard just to even wrap their minds around animal communication. talking to your dog or to your cat or to your bird or something, or your horse or something like that. But if she used the term interspecies, she says, I don't know if many people would really understand what I do and look at me kind of funny about it. But that it's a really good article. And like I said, it may help you to view something from a very different perspective. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, Earth Energies. Earth Energies column by Karen Crowley Suzani. And in this month's issue of Star Nations, I gotta find, here it is. The title of her article is Solstice, Sun Gods, and Ancient Tributes to the Sun. So it's all about the solstice. It's all about the solstice. And when Karen teaches us so much about earth energies and our relationship to sacred sites. Fascinating. I have interviewed her, I think, 3 times, 3 different times. And the kind of information that she brings to us is like, wow, I never heard that one before, or I never really understood to that depth about that particular sacred site. So what she brings to us is the information to take a look at something, either from a new perspective, a sacred site, or an earth energy from a new perspective, or from to help us understand it in a deeper way. Yeah. And so her article is that she once again shares her love of earth energies and sacred sites with us. She shares that we can see the solstice when celebrated or honored in different ways across time and culture. And she actually takes us on just a little bit, a very short jaunt through time and different cultures, and how the solstice has been respected, honored, and celebrated across time and across cultures. That was really fascinating to me. She also says that one was to when a person aligns with a particular place to the sun, so that they could connect to the power of the sun. Okay, so taking a sacred site that was constructed using sacred geometry to honor the sun. And there's there's very few places that actually do this for the equinox, but there's many for the solstice. And so, and she actually helps us to, or introduces to those sites as well, just short descriptions and what they do. And so this particular picture that she has here it really pulls you in, and it's that hole where the sun shines through that helps us to understand the solstice and the relationship to the sun. Yeah. Let's see. Carol has a question here. She says, can she, meaning Leslie, communicate via Skype or video chat? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Either one. What she can also do, because some of her clients don't use Skype, they don't have it on their computers. She can also have, if you send her a photograph of the pet or the animal, and she can do that over a telephone call as well. Yeah, and all her contact information is in the magazine. Yeah, and she has clients all over the world. And so, yes, they do talk via Skype, video chat, and also, depending on where they're at, by phone. Yeah. And so, if you like reading about ancient sacred sites, and how we can connect to them and the power of them and their connection to the sun, it's a fascinating article. And like I said, she teaches us so much, whether it's in an interview or in her column. Larry Serenisi. Aw, aw. This one. This is about Father's Day. It's in the column "Nourishing Body and Soul" by another one of my sisters, Sharon Rosenblum. And in this month's article, she chose to write about Father's Day. Father's Day. And so this picture is actually her husband with one of their grandsons. And I saw that picture and I was like, oh my goodness, that is just so sweet. So sweet. Their grandson was taking swimming lessons, and Sharon and her husband were down visiting the grandchildren. And so Sharon was able to snap this particular picture. And this particular article really, man, it really touches the heart about grandfathers and Father's Day. Yeah. And then we hear a lot about dads and Father's Day, and fathers, but seldom do we actually hear stories being shared about grandfather on Father's Day. Yeah. And so in her article about fathers, she calls it a father's vision, a father's vision. And it's a beautiful article about Father's Day. She shares with us about her husband, Andy, and his experience as a first-time grandfather. It's a peek into a loving relationship between grandsons and their grandfather. She also includes one of Andy's favorite recipes, favorite carrot cake recipes. And so Sharon, what she has done for many years is to make that cake to honor Andy, and now also her son and son-in-law on Father's Day. And it's just a sweet, loving article. It really is, with a great carrot cake recipe. And she also, Sharon does this all the time, is that she's very aware and very mindful about those of us who have issues with gluten. Okay. And so she gives, in her recipe, she usually gives options of both measurement and what kind of flour or what kind of substitute to use and the amount. So you're not trying to guess at it or trying to figure it out, in the conversion. Sharon will tell you exactly the measurement for the almond flour or something like that. So if you want to consider Father's Day from the perspective of a grandfather's first year with their grandchild on Father's Day, it's touching. It's very touching. Okay. Next up. Here we go, Carol. This is Polly Jo LeBay's column, named after her show, Chakra Sessions. And I tell you what, Polly Jo has been sharing with us for, I think, 3 or 4 months now, channeled writing from one of her spiritual team members, she calls the Ancient One. And in this particular article, it's about forgiveness and how forgiveness is very powerful, a very powerful healing tool. Okay. And the title of it is Healing Through the Power of Forgiveness. And in this particular article, Polly Jo channeled the information from not only the Ancient One, but also the Grand Council. This interesting and loving perspective regarding forgiveness challenges long-held beliefs that we have. It challenges us to take a look at them. And is it something that truly serves us in our healing process, right? And so find out how your beliefs about forgiveness can change if you want to change them. And one of the things, okay, so when we are working on creating any issue, I get to read all of the articles before they actually get into the magazine. I actually have my hands on them at least 3 or 4 times, sometimes 5, before they actually get published. Okay, so when I was reading through this particular article, you can certainly feel the presence of the Ancient One in this Grand Council. And they are very respectful to us, but they are also very honest and straightforward. And there's even 1 or 2 really blunt sentences in there that kind of make you kind of go, what, really? And so it's a way to be able to help us to uncomplicate something. We humans complicate the forgiveness process. Yeah, and there's a simpler, more direct route, and that's something that they're sharing with us through Polly Joe. It's a great article. It's a great article. I hope you decide to actually read this one, because it's going to be, I think it's very helpful to your soul growth. Yeah. Carol says, I'm having a moment here. The convergence of forgiveness and healing with the grandfather connection. Yes. Yeah. There's no such thing as coincidence, right, Carol? No such thing as coincidence. Yeah. And so those of us who have healing around father figures, right? This is a very helpful issue to do that. It takes a look at the loving relationship, but it also takes a look at how healing forgiveness can be in general, but you can use it specifically on any issue that you have, including father figures. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Carol, you're so sweet. She says, I'm so glad I got this time with you this evening. Me too. Me too. We're having a good conversation, Carol. I want to make sure that we got through all of the articles, and we did. The ones that are highlighted on the cover. And I want to show you the cover again. And I want to put into the chat. There we go. How you can purchase your own copy. Okay. Now I'm going to put into the chat the Star Nation's website address. And the thing is that, and when you get to the website, you'll be able to click on the magazine tab, but I'm going to give you the actual link so you can go directly to that. For info to purchase. There we go. It'll take you directly to the page, to the web page. So, so purchasing your own copy of it, as I was sharing with Carol, is that there's a couple of different versions, a few versions, depending on how you like to read your material, right? Print on demand, if you like to hold it in your hands and it's tangible. And I got to tell you that, the pictures turn out really, really good in the print on demand too. Or if you like reading it on your tablet or on your smartphone, I would say that the magazine is purchased most often and read most often on a smartphone. Yeah, we get all kinds of numbers, statistics that come out. And so there's many of you that are using your smartphones to purchase and to read the magazine. And I want to thank you for that too, because it makes you mobile. It really does. You can read the magazine anywhere. Once you download it, you have it. And so So there's on the mobile devices, but you also have PDF and web version. And I did explain that one already, that those two versions you can also read on any device. It's just that the PDF version, you can actually print out the recipes and the herbal lists and those kinds of things. Those pages you can print out. The web viewer are for those of us who don't like to even keep those kinds of things on our hard drive, to take up the room on our hard drive. So we put it out in the cloud, and we can download it to any one of our devices. Yeah. So thank you so much for being with me this evening about the backstories about Star Nation's June issue. It went really, really smoothly this month. We were actually done. We could have been done like 2 or 3 days beforehand, right? So it went really, really smooth, and it's so much fun working with the L's over at Elf Elm Publishing and working with the contributing writers. Yeah, and it's a good time. For me, it makes me happy, and it's a joyful part of my life, and I'm so glad that we can share it with you. And hopefully you have some help with your soul growth, have some insight, perhaps even to enjoy some of the really good recipes that are found in our magazine as well, right? Yeah. And Carol's saying one more thing. She says, it's a physically beautiful, and I would like to have it in my home. I'm old school. Well, good for you, Carol. And let me know if you do, okay? So with that, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening. And you'll see me back here next week for Communications from Home. And I think we're going to be, I'm not sure what we're talking about next week. I haven't checked in with my spiritual team yet, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know ahead of time, and hopefully you'll be able to join me for that as well. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.